Good afternoon, everyone. This is Caitlin from TechServe Alliance, and welcome to today's webinar, 2018 Certification Webinar Series, Recruiting is Sales, Not HR. There will be a question and answer session after the presentation, so feel free to write in any questions you want answered in the question box on the right side of your screen. We are also recording today's presentation, which will be available to TechServe members on the TechServe Alliance website and will be sent out in follow-up emails. And with that, I'd like to introduce our speaker today, Barb Bruno. Hi, Barb. One moment. Barb, are you there?
Yeah. Hurry up.
Barb, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now, Caitlin?
Yes.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, because it's not letting me unmute myself, so I thought we were still muted, so you can hear me.
Yes.
All right, perfect. Let's go with this then. We were trying to mute the call earlier because we heard some echoing. So, of course, technology, it's still telling me that I'm muted. All right, let's start with this program. And our program today is Recruiting is Sales and Not HR. And it's funny because so many people that enter our profession think they're entering the human resource or talent acquisition profession. And what we're all in is sales. And it's interesting because I don't know why there's always been that negativity when it comes to sales or the word sales. Even as owners, sometimes when we hire somebody, we present the job as account executive, as recruiter, as account manager, and we're always afraid to use the word sales, but that's what you and I do every single day. And so it's extremely important that you practice to master any skill, and that includes the sales process. And the placement and fill process is a repeatable process that will consistently work if implemented properly. And so what we're going to address today are key sales strategies and then the habits of top producers. And I want you all to think for a moment, what is your repeatable sales process? Whether you're a recruiter or whether you're an account executive, you should have a process that you follow. So what is the process that you follow when you're trying to get accounts? What is the process you follow when you're trying to get new business out of your current accounts? And what is your process when you're really trying to attract top talent? And I keep hearing, I just got back from 3 conferences back to back. And it's so funny because every time I'm out there, everybody is complaining about the lack of top talent. And I keep saying the exact same thing that I say to everybody is you should be thanking God every night that there is a shortage of top talent, because that's when you and I make the most money. That's when our businesses flourishes. That's why our profession is in such need right now, is because imagine the normal person out there that doesn't have the skill sets you have trying to find talent. That's why they need you. And so let's talk about some key strategies. The golden rule in sales has always been under promise and over deliver. And there's 2 main prospects that will convert into a client. And again, you never want to embellish on what you can do. You want to always surprise people. You always want to wow your candidates and your clients. And so what you want to do is you want to make prospects feel good. And you want them to view you as a solution to their specific problems. Sometimes we sell too fast. Sometimes we go in and we're pitching what we do. We do this, we do that, we do this. They don't care. All people care about is how can you make me benefit? Like, what's in it for me? You know, I always tell people my job is to make you look good when I'm dealing with clients. My job is to make your job easier. And on the candidate side, I'd love to be your lifetime career agent. You tell me your short and long-term goals, and I'll help you get there. But again, we have to understand what's important to each person. Just like every recruiter, every account executive is different in your office, every client is different. Every candidate is different. We've got to treat people the way they want to be treated. They're not us. You know, and sometimes we always think, well, if I just treat them the way that I want to be treated, that doesn't necessarily work. There's rules to follow and rules to know and directions to follow and paths to take to make sure you're always under promising and over delivering. And I want to give you a few of the rules. Number 1 is be specific about expectations with both your clients and candidates in writing. Everybody is very confused. It's interesting because 50% of my speaking is to corporate audiences. And I can tell you that they are very confused by what you and I do for a living. They're all hiring contractors. They're all hiring direct hires right now. But the problem is we don't run our businesses the same. 20 years ago, staffing firms, contract staffing firms, and search firms were all identical. We were kind of cookie cutter. And now everything is a hybrid. Everything is sort of based on your owner and the type of business they wanted to create. So you don't want to make promises you can't keep. But when you give people expectations, this is what you can expect from me. This is what I need from you to surface the talent you're going to hire. This is what I need from you to put the opportunity in front of you that you're going to accept. What's great about that is it totally eliminates confusion. It eliminates the confusion on the side of the job seeker. It eliminates the confusion on the side of the client. And the minute you send somebody expectations in writing, you've differentiated yourself. This is going to prevent them from putting you in the group called you people. You people call me all the time. You people are always, leaving me messages. When you're providing, client and candidate expectations, you've already differentiated yourself because most people will not take the time to do that. You also want to provide deadlines and meet deadlines and make sure that any deadlines you set are agreeable. And again, you always want to exceed expectations outlined. The next thing you want to do is provide consistent communication for your clients. Let them know you value them, even when you're not currently working with them on a contract. You want to increase your value proposition by elevating your relationship from vendor to trusted advisor. And quite frankly, I make all my clients my friends. I start out as a vendor and I let them know right up front. What I want to do is be very consultative to you. Hopefully someday you'll even value me as a friend because I want to know what's important to you. My job is to make your job easier, to make you look good. On the side of a candidate, I want to be your lifetime career agent. Do you realize the opportunities you're missing? I just did some in-house training for one of the TechServe members. And when we really went back and looked at their stats, they were only redeploying 8% of all their contractors. And think about that. They spent all this time finding these contractors, and they're a very large company, and they're doing very well. But the owner was astounded. I mean, he had no idea. When I asked him what percentage is your redeployment, he said, I think we were around 20-25%. When we really dug deep and looked for how much redeployment there was 8%. What a missed opportunity. And the truth of the matter is your contractors are out there either selling for you or other contractors from other firms are selling to them. And so when you talk about recruiting being a sales job, everything that we do is sales, you also want to communicate with your clients. You want to communicate with your candidates to make sure that they're out there trying to entice other contractors to work for you. They're not being recruited by contractors from another firm where you don't redeploy them. You also want to remember the lifetime value of customers. You've got to treat your clients and your candidates as a priority all the time and exceed expectations. Design a follow-up and a touch program that your competitors would not even consider doing. You can't place the contractor out on a contract, and the only time they hear from you is when they're getting their paycheck every week. And maybe your salespeople, say hi to them when they're making their sales calls. But if the only time you call them is 90 days before their contract is over, believe me, they've already got something else going. They've already got something else lined up. And what you're all starting to experience, and this isn't a fun thing, is that contractors are leaving the jobs before the contract is over. And it's because, somebody else entices them. They've got another contractor they're working with who loves their firm, and they're going off on a new contract, and they take your contract right along with them. And a lot of contractors are not finishing out their contract. And again, it's because of the competitive job market. But you've got to be that person that people love. Your clients have to love you. Your contractors have to love you. You don't have to love them, but they have to love you because the lifetime value and clients always come back to you to hire, and candidates using you as their lifetime career agent. Imagine what you would earn if somebody used you throughout their entire career. Every time they wanted a new contract, they came back to you. They depended on you to help them, basically attain all of their career goals. Do you even know what they want to do next? What skill set are they trying to learn? What company name do they want on their resume? What is their goal 2 or 3 years from now? If you've never discussed that with them, then you're not selling. You're just thinking of the one contract you currently have at hand. You interviewed them for the one contract. And unfortunately, they're probably going to be that 92% that's not redeployed. They're going to go out and work for you, and you're going to make money on every hour they work, but then the next time around, they're going to share the wealth and they're going to go with another firm because you never made them feel important. I always say you can never marry your clients or candidates. You've always got to date them. And those of you that are married know what I'm talking about. You've got to always court them. You've got the flowers and the notes and they've always got to feel important to you. There's got to be that excitement when you call them, that they know you've got their back. That they know if there's a problem that you're going to solve it. And that leads me to my fourth point. The fourth rule is you've got to be at your best when problems occur. And this is where we fall down. We fall down with follow-up, and we fall down where being at our best when problems occur. Rather than being solution-focused, we dwell on the problem too long, and we don't hit it head on. And we've got to solve problems where we're wowing the people that have the problem. We're not just, doing our best to put a Band-Aid on it. We're solving problems that occur. And you've got to be able to do this if you want to be great in this profession. You've also got to communicate effectively, in the sales process. Communicating effectively requires skills that can be mastered, again, with practice. You've got to always speak persuasively. You've got to listen intently to the priorities of your prospects. It's important to use all means of communicating. And I really want to address this to those of you that are trying to convince everybody that your candidates and clients will only talk to you via text or email. And I'm telling you that that's not true. That's what you're comfortable with. You're comfortable texting. You're comfortable emailing. And trust me, I'm very technical. I text, I email, but every third communication that I have with a candidate or a client is a phone conversation because you and I are in a relationship building business. And even people that date online, eventually they talk. Eventually they meet. It's the same thing in our business. You don't want to just place them in one job and only be another text to them. You want to get to know them as a person. You want to get to know personal things about them. You want to get to know what they like and what they dislike. And that's when they're going to, stay the complete duration of the contract. That's when they'll come back to you and you could redeploy them. If you're just a text or you're an email, your chances of being a lifetime career agent to your candidates and a friend to your clients will not exist because you are merely a text and merely an email. And understand something, I do believe that texting is the quickest way to get somebody to get back to me. If I've got an interview, if I've got something I want to get them to answer quick, I'm going to text them. But in between, every third contact that you have should be a phone call. But you know why they're not talking to you? Because quite frankly, they don't see the benefit in the conversation. If you call them to get an update, nobody's going to call you back for an update. But if you call and say you've got information that can benefit them, they're going to call you right back. So again, when you're leaving voicemails, you've got to show them the benefit to them to call you back. It can't ever be about you needing things. I need an update. I need information. No, it's you've got to offer something that's going to make them call you back. Now, there's 4 stages in any sales process, and these include stage 1, okay, which is the introduction. In the first few minutes of a sales call, basically that's really critical to your success because what you're doing now is you're making a first impression. And your first impression is either going to be good or bad. There's nothing in between. Your introduction stage of a sales call basically determines whether your prospect will take an interest in continuing the conversation or if they just stop listening. And what you're doing in your introduction is you're trying to build your credibility and differentiate yourself from your competition. So if I asked you right now, if I was standing right next to you right now, and I said, why should I use you? I'm the perfect client. Why should I give you my business as opposed to anybody else? I want to know what you could say that nobody else can say. Or if I'm a candidate and you call me and you want me to send you my resume or CV, why should I use you as opposed to every other recruiter out there that does IT or engineering contract or direct placement? Why should I use you? Because when people ask us this question, unfortunately, most people say the same things. We've been in business this amount of years. We specialize in your niche. We're a local company. We've got a great network. We represent some of the best clients, and all they're hearing is wah, 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 because that's what everybody says. What is your brand? Because your brand is your track record. If you want me to use you, tell me about your track record of success. And if you're new to this profession, tell me about your company's track record that you've helped clients just like me and the people that they hired were retained, or you've placed candidates that do exactly what I do, and let me know that since the first of the year, you've placed 19 people with my title, and they're all still on their job. That's going to make me want to work with you. You've got to get this out to me very quickly. Stage 2 of any sales call is kind of the investigation stage of your call. After setting the stage with your introduction, you've got to resist the urge to now go, what we do. We do this, we do that, we do this, they don't care. Ask open-ended questions that uncover the needs of your prospects, because only then can you position yourself as a solution. If you ask someone to describe their greatest challenge, it'll open a dialogue, and then they reveal what's most important to them. If you let them complain, people love to complain. That's showing you where their problems are. And you've got to do research in advance. I don't believe in any of you making cold calls anymore. In the evening on non-prime time hours, when you're at home at night, you got to get out your laptop or your mobile device, and you've got to do some research on the people you're calling tomorrow, because so much information is available online. I just talked to a potential client before I got on this phone call, and it was interesting because when I went on the website, he happened to make a post about baseball and that he had played college ball. And so when I started talking to him this morning, I said, last night I was at a ball game. And he goes, you were? And I said, yeah, my grandson was playing ball. He wants to play in college. He goes, well, I played ball in college. I said, you did? I knew he did. And he told me all about, his college and what he played, and that he thought he was going to be an MLB player, but it didn't work out. The first 10 minutes of our phone call was all about baseball. And for the record, I'm not a big baseball fan. But I knew that was a common denominator, and I just mentioned I was at a baseball game last night, and it opened it up, and it made the conversation so comfortable. And that's what we have to do. There's so much on people online, but this is not something you do during the day. If you're that type of person that says, I don't want to work after 5, that's okay, but you're never going to be great at this job. You're going to be average, because we've got to do some research, and there are candidates that can't talk can't talk during the day. I speak in front of IT conferences all the time. I'm at a lot of technology conferences, and they tell me all the time, I don't mind taking that initial call at work, but I can't talk. My boss is next to me, my coworkers, behind me. If somebody asks me for my cell and calls me at 6 o'clock, of course I'm going to look at something new. And so, you've got to be able to also make yourself available when they're available to talk. You've got to do your research at night, not during the day when you should be reaching out to prospective clients and candidates. Stage 3 of any sales process is they've got to know you're capable. Salespeople who thoroughly investigate the needs of their clients are more likely to position themselves in a way that show how their services can meet the client's needs. What are their buying triggers? If somebody hires a new CIO, do you realize, and this is something I got from Discover.org, they had done some research, and it's proven that when somebody hires a new CIO, they spend $1 million on hiring in the next 12 months, because the person does bring some people with them, but they're going to more than likely, do a pretty good cleaning house of the IT department. They want to bring in their own people, and they're going to bring in contractors. So whenever you see somebody hires a new CIO, that's a company you want to target to do business with, because they're going to spend $1 million in hiring the year after they hire their new CIO. So you've got to ask relevant questions so you could move the process to the next stage of the sales calls, and when you're presenting yourself as a solution. So you've always got to show people the benefits of what you offer based on the problems that they have. But how in the world can you position yourself as a solution unless you've investigated, unless you've shown them that you're capable, and now they're sharing what are some of the challenges are and what are some of the issues they're trying to solve. And stage 4 of your sales process should be obtaining their commitment. After a client has been informed about the benefits of the services you offer, now you've got to obtain their commitment to make a decision to utilize the services you offer. It's always a great idea to try to meet with clients, to shorten the learning curve. Those of you that are doing contract staffing, most of you have an outside salesperson. If you're doing direct, many of you don't, but it's good to do client visits. And again, I'm going to stress this one more time. Recruiting has been, is, and always will be a relationship building profession. You've got to form relationships. The more people like you, the more business they give you. It's a relationship building business. And can you build a relationship with only texting? The answer is no, you can't. Let's talk about habits of some of the top producers in our business. Every day they know what priorities they're going to work on. And so if you're not a planner, one of the most important things you need to do is, before you leave work tonight, write down the 6 things closest to the money that you commit to doing tomorrow before you leave work. So what are the 6 things closest to the money? And I've done this. I forgot a reference check. I forgot to debrief somebody because I got some urgent thing took me away from the important things. But before I leave work tonight, believe me, I practice this all the time myself. I know the 6 things closest to the money I have to finish today before I leave my office today. And I make sure I've got 3 or 4 of them done before noon because I don't want anything important to slip through the cracks. Number 2, you've got to make your number 1 focus send outs. My definition of a send out is an interview between a client and a candidate. And so when you're doing your planner tonight, when you're planning your outgoing calls for tomorrow, you always ask yourself, where's your send out today? And when in doubt, send them out. Too often you screen out candidates your clients would hire. It doesn't make any difference if you like them or not. If they have the skills, stability, experience, and credentials that your clients want, you send them and you let your clients make the decision. My clients surprise me all the time, and I've done this over 30 years. And if you ask me, do I know who my clients will hire? I would love to lie to you and say, oh, yeah, I know exactly what they'll hire. They surprise me all the time with the people they hire. And so as long as people have skills, stability, experience, and credentials or certifications they need, I'm going to send them. 3 is you want immediately, what you want to do is stop putting ASAP immediately or yesterday on your orders and contracts. Get a specific target date to fill. Timing is everything in what you and I do. Timing is everything. I think most of you know I was in the real estate profession before this, and I knew location was real estate. But then I moved over to recruiting, and I realized location still impacts what we do, but it's all about timing. When somebody says no to us, they're never saying no. They're saying not yet. Timing is just not right, and that's whether it's a client saying they're not going to use you or a candidate saying they're not going to send you their resume or CV. Got to understand something. When people say no to us, don't hear no, just hear not yet. But that leads me to number 4, never work off a resume, because a resume or a CV is a picture of who they were and who they are. It doesn't tell you who they want to be. Now, you and I both know a lot of your clients, candidates know they're in high demand. They won't even send you a resume or a CV. They say, look at my LinkedIn profile. And I'm telling you, you've got to do it. Because if you've got, a .NET developer and you know they're great and they're refusing to send a resume or a CV, but they say you can work off my LinkedIn profile, my response would be absolutely. I will print off your LinkedIn profile, and then when can I call you? Because I will have some additional questions, because your LinkedIn profile shows me who you were. It shows me who you are. It doesn't show me who you want to be, and it doesn't show me your long-term goals. I want to make sure that whatever move you make through me is setting you up to hit those long-term goals you have. All of a sudden you sound differently, and now they see the benefit of giving you additional information. Number 5 is you want to learn something personal about clients and candidates as soon as you can. Because again, you want to go from that vendor to trusted advisor to consultant, and then hopefully with your client's friend someday. And with the candidate, someone they view as a lifetime career agent. At the last TechServe conference, I remember in my session, I asked everybody, what percentage of your contractors are you redeploying? And that whole audience, and I had a lot of people in the room, I know it was under 10%. And isn't that sad? You work so hard to find these contractors. You want to be, seen as a lifetime career agent. Let them know you care about them, that they can trust you, that you deliver what you tell them you're going to do. Number 6 is every Friday you should update clients on the status of your orders or contracts. Because this is a big complaint I hear from clients all the time. They have no idea how much time you've spent on their business. They give your salesperson an order, and they don't know if you've worked an hour on their contract, if you've worked 2 days on it, or if you're just sending them the first person you basically surface out of your database. Now, if it's a VMS type of situation, of course you've got to react fast, because you don't have a lot of time. I mean, and you're not going to be able to do a Friday update on the VMS clients. I'm talking about clients where you have contact with the hiring authorities. VMS, what you have to look at is what positions are you filling through them, and pipeline those candidates in advance, because you've only got a short period of time to submit usually 3 candidates, and you're judged on submittals, not even fills. And so that's a total different, business model. But when you have contact with the hiring authorities, and some VMS clients do let you have contact with the hiring authorities, give them an update every Friday so they know you're working on their contracts and orders. Number 7, salespeople, try to mirror where you've made your past placements and fills. If you write orders or contracts similar to where you're filling business, there's candidates in the database. There's candidates in the database that surfaced after the order or the contract was filled. Number 8, start having some fun when you're working. People like to work with people they enjoy, and if you sound frustrated, irritated, stressed out, it's going to really limit your success. When I'm at the TechServe conference and we go to the cocktail parties, I see amazing personalities, and most people that do what you and I do, we're really good people. I always describe us sort of as social workers who like money. We really want to help people. We really want to have an impact. We really want to make a difference, as cheesy as that sounds. That's who we are. We want to leave, we want to do things that make our companies better and make our candidates more successful, but we also want to make money. But when you have fun, you're going to make more money. As an owner, I know that if my people are enjoying their work, they're more successful. People that are having fun at what they do are just more successful. Walk in the morning and I'm a money magnet. It's going to be a great day. And you'll be amazed at what happens. You've got to add some humor, have some fun. Every day is bring your personality to work day. Number 9, make every third contact a phone call. And you may have convinced yourself that your clients will only talk by email and text. I'm telling you, you've got to be high tech, high touch. Relationship building cannot be done through a text. It just can't be done. And you've got to understand that if you are only a text or an email, chances are your candidate is not going to come back to you to be redeployed, and your client is using you as one of many vendors they're using because you haven't elevated the relationship to a higher level. And number 10, and this is probably the most important, you got to know your numbers. You got to know your ratios. You got to know your stats, because it's not about the numbers of calls you make every day. It's about what results do you need, you specifically. What numbers do you need to hit or surpass goals every month? See, if you know your stats and ratios, it's never a crapshoot. You know exactly what results you need daily. You know exactly how many interviews you have to do. You know how many send-outs you have to book. You know how many contracts you have to write. You know how many clients you have to call. And you know the numbers because you know your individual ratios. And the great thing about numbers is it takes the emotion out of what you and I do, because numbers don't lie. When you know your numbers, you can predict your income. And more importantly, you're not going to have that roller coaster, good month, bad month, good month, bad month. The only way that happens is because when you're having a great month, you're celebrating and you're closing and debriefing and prepping, and you forget to do the basics that you have to do every day. You forget those calls you must make daily to get the minimum results you need daily. Once you know your numbers, then no one has to motivate you. You know exactly what you need. And if I'm supposed to do 3 interviews a day and I did 2 today, tomorrow I have to do 4. I'm going to hold myself accountable for those minimum result numbers daily, and I'm never going to have a bad month. And I'm going to consistently hit or surpass goals. Wouldn't it be great if you're not managing yourself by numbers? Wouldn't it be great? And those of you that are recruiters, if you don't know your stats, there's one stat I want you to figure out, and that's your send out to fill. How many people do you send out on first interviews before somebody is hired on contract or hired on direct? So how many first interviews before someone's hired? I want you to go back from the beginning of the year through September and figure that out. So say that your number is 6 to 1. You send out 6 people before one is hired. Do you realize that if you just sent out 6 additional people in the month of October, you're going to close an additional deal? And wouldn't that be great if you had your best quarter ever this last quarter? Your owner's going to wonder what's going on, and all of a sudden you realize, or if you're an account executive, how much business do you write before something's filled? So how many contracts do you write before one is filled? How many job orders do you write before one is filled? So now you know how many more orders you have to write or how many more contracts you have to write in order to fill more business every month. Got to know your numbers, because, again, we're in sales, and sales is a number profession. If you practice the advice I've shared in this webinar, you will learn and practice the skills necessary to make you successful. And never forget, you and I sell for a living, and the beauty about what you and I do is there are no limits to what you and I can achieve. Your owner is never going to come up to you and say, no more clients, no more candidates. We've got enough sales this month. Go home for the rest of the month. They're never going to do that. And you can have, buy, travel, anything you want, because you basically drive your own income. And that's why I think sales is the best profession out there, And that's why I'm thrilled that I'm in years in my profession, and I'm thrilled that I'm in the type of sales where we change people's lives on a daily basis. What you and I do is such an amazing profession. We make great money while we help other people succeed. Not many people go home from work every day knowing they change people's lives, and that's what you and I do for a living. Now, I want you to really seriously consider, if you're not certified, the training I just gave you is like 2% of the training that's involved in the certification program. You know, TechServe Alliance gave me the honor of writing the study guide for them, and that's why I also do these weekly calls. And I'm telling you, if you're not certified, that's another differentiator. You know, you place people with certifications all the time. Your clients have certifications. Wouldn't it be great if you were part of the minority right now in our profession and you earn your CPSR if you're a recruiter, or you earn your CPSAE if you're an account executive? Wouldn't that be great? And this is not something, if your owner is not, presenting this to you, you should make the investment in yourself. You should get those initials behind your name, because what that shows is you're in it for the long run. That shows that you're willing to study the base of knowledge that you have to learn to become certified, and that you're going to make a lifetime commitment to learning, because guess what? The jobs you and I are doing today don't even resemble what we did 10 years ago. And technology is going to keep changing what you and I do. And the beautiful part is that TechServe stays on top of everything. They have the most current information of any association I've ever been involved in, and so they'll help you stay current. But if you enjoyed this training, seriously consider being certified. Or if you've reached level 1 of certification, take the level 2 certification exam. It's case studies. It's a much tougher exam, but it really tests your knowledge, because the answers are not on the exam in level 2. You read a case study, then you've got to apply what you learned to the case study. Your answers are not in A, B, C, or D like they are with the first level. And so I would love to challenge some of you to take that level 2. I also want to talk about the conference. It was funny because I had 2 of my training clients called yesterday, and they were asking me about what conference they should attend, and they both did IT, and they're not TechServe members. And I said, well, number 1, you should join TechServe Alliance, and number 2, you should go to the conference. And it was funny because we heard from Sean at TechServe that one of our clients signed up yesterday for the conference. And I'm glad to hear that, because I believe that TechServe puts on the best conference in our profession by far. And so if any of you are on the line, your owners, managers, or if you want to, come yourself or send some of your people, the conference is amazing. And this year, they're doing interactive workshops that you have to sign up for in advance. We're really going to dig deep on some topics, which is what you all asked for. And that's another thing I love about TechServe. They take their direction from you, the members. And if you want to see something at conference, all you have to do is tell them. And now this year they're having these interactive workshops that are going to be longer, and you're going to have a big part of what's discussed during the workshops. And it's not just going to be the type of knowledge you can get during a keynote or a breakout. These are going to be things you sign up for in advance, topics that you really want to give some input on, but you also want to leave having new ideas. So please look at the workshops. I'm doing 2 of them for them. There's a number of other workshops being done. Please look into them, because they're all cutting edge, and they're all going to dig deep on topics that will help you. And so now we're at the most important part of this call, and that's questions. And so I love to do these calls live so you can ask me questions. And you can ask me questions one of 2 ways. If you called in, we gave you a telephone number, an access code, and a PIN number. If you put all 3 numbers in, then you can ask questions. And all you have to do is go down to the bottom, and you see the word questions. And if you type in a word, if you type in questions down there, then I can unmute your lines. And basically you and I can talk. I can role play. I can answer any questions you want. So any questions you have, let me know. Or you can, click, or you can go down to questions if you don't want to raise your hand. You can click on that little hand or go down to the word questions and type in any questions, and I'd be glad to answer you. So let me see if anybody raised their hands first. Got a nice big group here today. Come on, we need to get some questions. And again, if you've got a question, trust me, there's other people that have a question. If you don't want me to use your first name, type the word confidential or anonymous first, and then I would be glad to answer your question. I will not use your first name. So I see no hands being raised. Let me go down to questions. Okay, here's a question from Susan. Why do you think TechServe is the best conference because I know you speak at many. The reason I think the conference is amazing is because TechServe allows you a lot of networking opportunities. They split up owners, they split up firms based on their size. They've got, programs for, I know a lot of contract firms are looking to add direct now. And so they've got a program on how do you add direct. Anything that you ask for, they deliver. All the workshops are based on what the members asked for. And so what I love about your conference is the networking opportunities. Also, it's always at a beautiful place. They're going to Bonita Springs this year, and it's a phenomenal place to go. But it's not so much about the hotel as it is the content. They bring in the best speakers, they bring in the best trainers, they bring in the best keynotes, and the panels are all your peers. And again, it's the networking opportunities. You will learn, and again, I'm a speaker and a trainer, and I'm telling you, you're going to learn just as much from the other attendees as you are from people like me. And so it's the networking opportunity, and TechServe knows how to put on a conference. And so that's why I feel it's the best one. This is from Tiffany. I'm worried when you say level 2 is difficult. The reason the level 2 certification exam is difficult is it's not. In level 1, you read a question and the answer is there. We give you multiple choice, A, B, C, D. Sometimes it's none of the above, all of the above, but your answer is there. In level 2, we give you a case study, and the case studies are things you face every day at work. Want to get better at your job? Take the level 2 exam. In fact, I believe the certification program just makes you better at your job because it's filled with best practices. It's filled with industry standards. It has a code of ethics that you adhere to. You're taught law, and you basically dedicate yourself to a lifetime of learning. That's a formula for success. That's a formula for success. This is from Frank. Can we ask you questions at the conference? Of course you can. That's at the TechServe conference. That's another thing. I attend everything. I think I'm only giving 2 sessions this time, I think. But I'm there all the time. And so if you've got questions and you see me walking the halls at the TechServe conference, pull me aside anytime. And anything I can do to help a TechServe member, I always will be there to help you. Can you provide testimonials? If you want testimonials on conference, if you want testimonials on certification, if you want testimonials on my training, TechServe has all that. And so we buy on the approval of others. And believe me, the certification program is going extremely strong. And I'm going to say something to all of you. I do training for LinkedIn Learning. And the last 5 or 6 courses I've done, the last course that just got released was how do you get the most out of the contractors you hire, or why should you work as a contractor or temp? I'm trying to write courses for LinkedIn that job seekers as well as hiring authorities are taking, and my courses have been viewed by over 1.5 million people right now. And in my programs, I tell them to ask if someone is certified. When they're saying, how do we pick a recruiter? I say, do they belong to their professional association, which you all do? Are they certified? And so I put that as a criteria because that's how strongly I believe in certification. And I do hope that someday clients are going to say, are you certified? Candidates are going to say, are you certified? Because then that means we've all got that base of knowledge, which I think is so important. But you showed up today. See, I'm singing to the choir here. You showed up. You believe in training. And please do me a favor. Don't just show up to the calls. Take something I said today and implement it. Then you're showing your owner that this is worth your time away from your desk, because you all could be working a desk right now. You're on the phone with me. And so that means that you're not working your desk. And so implement one of these ideas, because then you'll make more money, your owner will make more money, and never forget, your owner's in business to make a profit. And so, and of course, when you're helping your owner make a profit, you're making more money. All right, I see no more questions or no more hands being raised. What I want to do now is turn it back over to Caitlin. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
You did cover most of the fine points of certification. We're always willing to field your questions here, so if you have anything else that you'd maybe want to have a phone conversation, feel free to call our number as listed on the screen right now. We'd also really appreciate it if there is a survey that pops up after you exit the webinar, and we just would really appreciate it if you filled that out, gave us your feedback, especially if you had any topics that you wanted to suggest for upcoming webinars. We would absolutely, love to meet that need. Next certification webinar, the next entry in the 2018 certification webinar series, is titled Listen Better Than Your Competition, and that'll be on Tuesday, October 23rd, 12:30 Eastern, and registration for that will be up on the website later today, and will also be included in the follow-up email that you'll get with the recording of this call. We also have in October 9th, we have an economic update webinar, which is kind of a macro look at the industry around us. And I think that might be about it. Barb, do you have any last thoughts?
No, just if you're on the fence and you're thinking about, should I get certified or should I not get certified? I'm telling you, there is such value in becoming certified that wouldn't it be great if some of you got off the phone after this call and called TechServe Alliance and made the commitment today, because you could be certified within 4 to 6 weeks. It just takes about a month of you reading the materials a couple times, and you could take the exam online. And I'm telling you, if you read the materials a couple times, you're going to pass. We created this test where if you study the materials, you will pass. So I welcome anybody that's on the fence to kind of jump over that fence today and make a commitment and sign up. We would love to have you in that group of very special people. So again, thank you for attending, and please attend our next call in October. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, Barbara, you still there? Oops. Sorry, we've received one last very final question. Ramesh, if you could just email it to the email that's currently on the screen, certification@techservealliance.org. We would be happy to field your question there. Thank you so much, everyone. I apologize again, Ramesh. We will field your question. It came in a little bit late, and with that, I hope everyone has a wonderful day.